Hello, this is Rick Saltarelli with Salty Breeze Cruise Planners with this week's segment of Beyond Your Front Door. And today I have with me Peter from Victory Cruise Lines. Peter, welcome aboard.
Yeah, thank you, Rick. Great to be with you.
Well, I'm so happy to have you here today because Victory Cruise Lines is a brand that may be new to a lot of people. So, what would you like to share with our listeners about who Victory Cruise Lines is?
Well, first of all, Victory Cruise Lines may be not a household name for everybody, but because of the way we're structured, we're part of Hornblower Holdings, which is the largest American operator of ships in the United States. So on any given day, we're operating over 100 vessels in U.S. waters, which makes us the biggest operator in the U.S. by a factor of 5 or so. Victory Cruise Lines is the overnight division that does domestic exploring within the US. So these are jewel-like ships that are going on expeditions of personal enrichment and culture throughout the Great Lakes, the St. Lawrence Seaway, the Eastern Seaboard, New England, and coming up next year, Alaska and Mexico. So growing and an engaging experience.
And that's amazing. I know that you do run ferries. That's where people may have seen some of your product in the past. Some of the product from your sister company operate a lot of ferries. So,
Yep, and the quality is there too, because you may not realize it, but if you've gone on an Alcatraz cruise or done the Statue of Liberty cruise, Boston Harbor, any of the 70 odd entertainment cruises we do, you were on a Hornblower boat. So you may already be alumni and not even recognize it. And
that
remember,
is,
it was great to have people on board. They go, I never drew the connection, but wow, am I glad I did.
yeah, I was surprised myself when I saw the family of brands.
Yep.
And so you talked about that brand new ship coming next year, and brand new ships are always exciting. So why don't you tell us about what's ahead?
This is 180 degrees away from what we're currently doing. And I couldn't be more excited about any boat other than this one. The name of the boat is Ocean Victory. And the design, the way we're going to use it is completely different from what most people may be used to. When you look at the boat, if you go online and look at pictures, instead of the bow coming up like you normally get a bow going up, this one goes in the opposite direction. The idea is it slices cleanly through the water and it's more at one with its environment. It is running clean burning fuels, and actually we can do multiple days at zero emission operating. When we're going into these pristine wilderness areas, the last thing we want to do is mess up the environment that we're in. So it is set up with a GPS system where we can actually link it to a point on the earth through GPS sensors and the thrusters. We could stay at one point without ever dropping an anchor. And that lets us go into places like Ford's Terror, Tracy Arm, Endicott Arm, and we could stay overnight and never drop an anchor and disrupt the environment. Compared to other boats, this one truly is a very low footprint boat. Now, unlike if you're the person that's looking to go to Alaska and stay on an ocean block that goes by the terrain, this is not the boat for you, all right? If you're someone who is engaging and interested and want to have an experience with some of the best minds in this area, this is the boat you want to be on. First off, 20% of the crew is built up by marine scientists from Cal Poly. And they're the people that are the best marine biologists in the world. They're the people you're going to be talking with every day on the Zodiacs, in the kayaks, exploring Alaska and British Columbia. We've also paired with the Sitka Raptor Center, where you can get a unique experience with these magnificent birds, and the Fortress of the Bears on Sitka Island, which is where you can actually get within 20 feet of these animals up on platforms. It's an unsurpassed experience in Alaska. The whole idea behind this boat is to go places nobody else is going, and to let you really get in there with professionals who can teach you about the area and why this area is so special. This is an engaging journey of personal discovery.
And so that is an itinerary that you just described. I mean, I've been to Alaska, and now I want to go. Victory. It could be for the person that's been to Alaska before and isn't thinking they want to go back again, but this might be an in-depth discovery that they have not had yet, and they want to go just for that reason alone.
I guarantee it. I've been to Alaska, I think 6 times now, and I love the area. The sense of grandeur is just overwhelming. And if you've never been to Alaska, whether it's on us or anybody else, I'd really encourage you to go because it's a life-changing experience. Beyond that, this is something that kicks it up a notch. We're going to the places that nobody else is going to go and take you. And then we let you really explore more on your own through zodiacs, through kayaks. This is an active adventure, okay? And the other itinerary that we're doing besides going from Vancouver to Sitka, which is a 12 or 13-day cruise, we're also doing a yachtsman's paradise in British Columbia, which is going into ports that you would not see unless you actually owned your own boat in Vancouver. So a terrific opportunity to see the best of British Columbia as well as the best of Alaska. If you've got a choice and you've got the time, okay, I would tell you to go into Sitka and sail southbound because for the same amount of money, you get an extra day, all right? It's 13 days on the southbound, 12 days on the northbound. Whichever way you go, we include the pre-cruise hotel and all your meals on board, beer and wine with dinner. You can, really get to know this area on a very, very personal level. And you've got the best in the business to teach you about what you're looking at.
Oh, that is amazing. I think you might have answered this question already, but what would be the major differentiators for most people when they're looking at Victory versus somebody else that's perhaps a smaller ship as well? What would be the major differences?
I think the biggest difference is, and I'm not going to take anything away from some of the other operators because I think they do a fantastic job as well. It is night and day different from the big ships, okay? This is something that you can get on and really work with the experts on board to craft and mold exactly how much you want to learn yourself. And that's not just true of the Alaska cruises. That's true of the Great Lakes. It's true of our Canadian Maritimes, New England, Mexico, the Eastern Seaboard. These are really places where you can go and on these ships, the ships of Victory Cruise Line, scale how much interactiveness you really want with our crew. They are there to really make the place come alive for you. And some people don't want that. We realize some people just want to relax. We're good with that. But for people who are inquisitive and people who really like to do hands-on and learn as they go and really bring the experience home for themselves, these are just the perfect ships to do it on.
That's amazing. And I tell people that your cruise line really is what I call coastal cruising. I don't know if that's the official language, but the ships don't go that far out from land, do they?
No, they don't. The Alaska is mostly inside passage cruising. So it's very, very protective. If someone is worried about, will I feel the motion on these boats because they're smaller? You really won't. When we're doing the Great Lakes, we're very close to land all the time, although the Great Lakes are vast. And, our Great Lakes itineraries, you can actually cruise all 5 Great Lakes. And, being familiar with the area yourself, Rick, I mean, you know how special some of these places are. If you get into Manitoulin Island, or the Canadian areas of the Great Lakes, it's a beautiful, beautiful place to be in. And it's certainly something that not a lot of people get the chance to see. And that's the pity for them, but the big bonus for the people who do get on our boats. A lot of our boats are crewed by the people from that area. So it really is a different experience talking to people who grew up in the area. And as you're sailing by, they go, oh yeah, I used to go swimming there or fishing here, or I know this area pretty well. And it's a more engaging, a more personal experience So lots of fun on board.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned Manitoulin Island. I did not share this with you before, but I lived there. I went to high school in Manitoulin.
Did you?
I know Little Kern very well, and I grew up, or I was living about 30 miles west of there in a small place called Kagawong. It's between Little Kern and Gore Bay. So know Manitoulin Island very, very well.
Well, one of the things we usually do on our cruises is we include a hop-on, hop-off bus, okay? Where people, it's free shore excursions, and a lot of the places that we go to, the admissions are included, so folks can get out and explore on their own away from the vessel as well. And the people that are actually operating the coaches are part of our crew, so people get to know them really well as well. One place that's a little different, and you get a couple of these, but one place that's a little bit different is Mackinac Island, because there's absolutely no vehicles anywhere on the island. So when we get there, what we have are horse-drawn carriages ready to take our guests for a ride through the island before we take them up to the hotel for a great dinner and a place to relax. So it's just a lot of fun all the way around.
Well, we've talked about two great itineraries with the Great Lakes and with Alaska, but this might be hard for you to answer, but do you have a favorite itinerary of your own?
You know, I'm a New Englander, so I tend to look at New England quite a bit because I grew up here and I know what is special and what isn't. And once we finish the Great Lakes summer season, going from Chicago to Toronto and Niagara Falls area to Chicago, once we finish that whole season up, we come back out through the St. Lawrence Seaway and we'll come into Boston to do September and October New England sailing. And if you know New England like I do, and you look at the itineraries, you go, oh my gosh, you know, these are all the heavy hitters. It's not any, you know, places you don't want to go. It's the great places in Maine. It's Cape Cod, Provincetown, Nantucket, Martha's Vineyard. It is just a you know, one hit after another. So for anyone who is looking to really get into an area, especially during fall foliage season, you know, that place tugs at my heartstrings. I would say the New England stuff.
That's an amazing itinerary, and those are all amazing places to visit. And what kind of advice would you have for a person taking their very first cruise on Victory Cruise Lines?
I would say, you know, lose your preconceptions about what a cruise should be and open up yourself to interacting more with the crew, because I think that's the real key to, you know, either walking away having done another cruise or walking away going, wow, I had a fantastic experience. The crew members are there to really interact, and as are the people that we bring on board. So we really want you to walk away feeling like you not only relaxed, but you had an enriching experience as well. Maybe you learned something about just one port, or you learned something about an entire region. But whatever it is, you can relax, you can grow and learn, and those are all great things to do. Let your guard down and enjoy.
That is amazing. And so this is my final question for today. What is on the horizon for Victory Cruise Lines? Is there anything other than the new ship next year?
Sure, we're always doing something different. The new ship is our big one. That's the one that we're all looking forward to. But once we finish up with the New England series after the next year's summer season, we're going to bring the ship on a coastal cruise down towards Fernandina Beach. We'll do a little bit of Fernandina Beach and Florida itineraries, and then we'll venture further south into Mexico. And we'll be doing cruises around the Yucatan Peninsula. So you'll start seeing a little bit more about those very, very shortly, because the advertising is just getting ready to begin.
Oh, that's amazing. Can you tell us where the ship will be sailing out of round trip, or is that known yet?
Basically, Bay of Campeche.
Where and where is that?
The Yucatan. So
People would fly into Cancun.
Probably, yeah. That's probably the easiest one.
Well, it sounds like we'll have to have you back another time to talk about that itinerary once it's been broadcasted.
I'm always happy to spend time with you, Rick.
All right.
The
Well, thank
highlight
you.
of my day.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. This has been Rick Saltarelli with Salty Breeze Cruise Planners, where we help create lifelong lasting memories. And today we've been talking to Peter from Victory Cruise Lines. Peter, I want to thank you for being on, and we look forward to having you back again.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.